PaperCuts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Scott, and welcome to the final season finale of PaperCuts, a Death Note recap podcast. As I said before, my name is Scott, and joining me as always is...
Hey, I'm Ollie. Glad to have you guys here for the season finale. We made it.
We made it. There were times when I didn't know if we were going to get through. I didn't know where we were going to end up, but here we are in the final episode. We've watched the final episode of Death Note. We have thoughts on the final episode of Death Note, and we have thoughts on the series as a whole. So thank you so much for coming along with us on this journey from episode 1 all the way through to, episode 10. This is the 10th episode that we've done.
Yep.
And it kind of is perfect as a series finale, I think. What do you think, Ollie? How's your week? How's things? How are you feeling about the ending of this series?
I'm just happy how it ended. I got what I want. I just want to look him in the eye and just, yeah.
Well, let's just hope that you get what you want out of this final episode of PaperCuts. We are going to have a pretty special announcement coming up at the end of the show, so we're hoping you're going to stick around for that. Of course, if you are following us on if you're listening to us, follow the channel, leave us a review. If you are watching this on YouTube, let us know what you think down below and subscribe to the channel.
Yep.
So, Ollie, what did you tell us about your thoughts on this ending before we jump right into it?
Bottom line up front, I got what I want. I just want it to be longer. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
just
that
make
type
it
of guy.
longer.
Yeah, I would sit an hour watching that.
Of just the one scene.
Mm-hmm.
Which we'll talk about.
Yeah, I would actually give Matsuda more. To like, you know what, bud? Here you go. Like, take a couple more.
It's a shame he only had a 6-shooter.
Yeah, here you go, bud. Like, yeah, do it. Do more.
Well, I think look, if you watch the episode, you know exactly what we're talking about. If you haven't watched that episode of Death Note, I think you really should, as this has been the premier companion piece podcast to Death Note. Yeah. So without further ado, let's hop into episode 37, A New World. Naturally, as always, the OP is still a banger, and I gotta be real, for the first time in a long time, I didn't skip a single intro to this whole anime.
All episodes?
All episodes. I watched intro and extro to every single episode.
Damn.
Yeah. It's that good. I haven't had an anime do that ever. And I just watched Jujutsu Kaisen, which has a banger opening, but it's not one that I want to watch every single time.
Really?
Maybe it's because I binged it.
Yeah.
I watched all 25 episodes in a weekend.
Oh, what? Yeah.
That was my fault.
Welcome to the fold, sir. No. It's okay. No. It's okay.
Anyway, we pick up immediately after the cliffhanger that we left on last week's, with Light proclaiming his victory as Teru tells Light that it has been 40 seconds since writing in the notebook. Now, things get really complicated here, and I really, 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 really tried to summarize it in my own words. But I also realized that I don't have the summarization skills to do it and explain it as well as the wiki can. So I'm just gonna read what the wiki says regarding how this all shook down, because it gets really complicated really, really fast. And
a lot of moving parts. There's too many.
Way more moving parts than we would have expected, but literally everybody seems to have a part to play. So, see, I'm already messed up.
Hey, look at it this way, man. Like, this last episode, If any of you like seen like a Tarantino movie like Reservoir Dogs or Hateful Eight, like it happens in one setting, and everything there is an important part. And this is like the last episode.
Yeah.
Everything is a moving part here. So kind of like it's a beast. Just saying.
Okay. So Nier reveals that while the pages in Mikami's book had been replaced by fake pages created by the SPK, they also replaced the actual notebook. Which, so what happens was, 40 seconds happens, Light says, "Hey Nier, I've won," and after a minute, nobody dies. So Light's panicking, and then Nier reveals all this. Mikami inadvertently reveals the real notebook, the location of the real notebook to kill. Oh wait, shoot. Okay, okay, okay. When Takuda was kidnapped, Mikami inadvertently revealed the location of the real notebook to kill her, despite Light doing so already without Mikami's knowledge. So, to my understanding, and maybe you can explain this better, Mikami wrote Takuda's name in the notebook at around the same time that Light wrote it down on his watch. So by
Roughly.
Mikami acting outside of Light's expectations,
Mm-hmm.
it revealed which notebook was real.
Mm-hmm. That's in the bank.
That was in the bank.
Yeah.
Which, what? Turns out this whole time Mikami had the real notebook in a safety deposit box.
Yep.
And the only time he like changed his routine was to go and write Takuda's name in the notebook.
Yep.
That's the only time that he changed his routine, which revealed where the notebook was to the SPK. And so Nier basically attributes his entire success to Mello kidnapping Takuda, which let him see where the real book was, which was then replaced en masse by the SPK, along with the pages that Light knew about in the other book.
There's one more thing. So the first one, the replica was a dud. That's why they caught on that it was being tampered. Remember, one of the SPK was handwriting each and every single one because that's his specialty, forgery. So they forged a really fake notebook that's even the hand strokes are like copied, and then they swapped it out.
Right. Exactly. Wild.
Yep.
So the notebook is confiscated, and Light's name is the only name not written, thus exposing him as Kira. Because Mikami would never write his own god's name down, which he knew because Mikami made the deal for the Shinigami eyes and didn't see Light's lifespan when he poked his head in to this warehouse where all of this was happening.
Yep.
So, terrified, freaked out, panicking, Light tries to claim the entire scene is a setup, and everyone heard him declare his victory before the 40-second mark, so no one on either the Japanese task force or the SPK accept his claim. Out of options, Light confesses to being Kira and attempts to acquit himself by justifying his use of the notebook, saying things like, "Hey, wars don't happen anymore. Why am I the bad guy?"
Because you are.
Because you are. When that fails, he tries to convince Nier that the notebook the task force brought with them is a fake, creating a distraction so he can write Nier's real name on a piece of Deathnote hidden in his watch.
The watch.
So remember how we really felt bad for Matsuda this entire series?
Oh man, I never
We felt
felt.
so bad
Yeah,
for
we
the
did.
poor
We did
guy.
feel bad for the poor guy.
Feel
He did.
bad for him, but like we always liked him. We always thought Matsuda was great.
Yeah.
Matsuda looked up to Suichi so much and had so much respect for the guy that when Light shows apathy towards the death of his dad, saying that whatever, he died for nothing, like it's what, like not caring about his father's death,
Ooh.
and saying that he was only using his father's death to get Mello's real name and to kill Mello, Matsuda whips out his gun and shoots Light several times. No, first he shoots oh my, and this is so cool. He shoots the pen out of Light's hand.
Quick draw.
Or shoots shoots the pen out of his hand.
Yep.
And when Light tries to write Nier's name in blood, pumps the rest of the shots of his revolver into Light.
Mag dump. Just dumped it.
Saving one.
Oh, it felt good seeing that. It felt great.
Man, if you want catharsis in a series, this is that moment of catharsis. That's what this moment is. From the whole series, really. This is the one where you realize it's finally happened, and all of even Matsuda's like character development pays off.
Yep.
Because the whole series, he's the one that's been like stepped on and
he's a happy-go-lucky
relegated.
Guy.
And he's just happy to be invited. He's just happy to be there. But when somebody like betrays his like mentor's memory, that's where he draws the line. That's when he says, no more. This isn't cool. I can't believe this. Ridiculous. Kills him and shoots him down.
I think the term there, he's the most human.
Yeah.
He's the most human in the show. If anything.
Yeah, 100%.
Even the like the FBI agents, sure, they're but they're not as human as Matsuda, because Matsuda doesn't think twice to express his emotions. Like, that episode when Light was fucking talking with his ex, and then, oh my god, he's in a pinch, women problems. He was just living life. He's being a dude, right?
Yeah.
And then the boys call him out on the, hey, stop it, man. Not cool. We're at work. But he's just being
like, no, I'm a human being.
Right? He's the most
I
human.
have joy.
Yeah.
Let me have joy.
He's the only one who has that in this show. He's the only one who has joy.
What a beautiful shining light.
Yeah.
Matsuda has been this whole time.
Yeah, you're the one.
And so, in response to the drama, Mikami has a complete mental breakdown. Seeing the deicide before himself, seeing his god, whom, oh my god, I just met God. And now God's lying in a puddle of his own blood.
God got capped.
Oh. And ends his own life with a pen, bleeding out shortly thereafter. Which is really sad. And, really sad. And then Light makes a getaway. Aizawa tries to give chase, but Nier's like, nah, he's not going to make it far. You don't have to chase him.
Nier knows.
Yeah, no, he's not going to get far. And then we're treated to a long shot of Light running away as fast as he can manage. And honestly, it's really tragic. Like, on one hand, you can't help but feel for the guy. But on the other hand, he is a mass murderer who continued to use the most dangerous weapon in human history for his own means.
I got no remorse, man. Zero.
Like it's yeah, it's a bit of a yeah, it's just kind of sad. I thought I was sad because it makes you wonder who Light would have been if it wasn't for the Death Note falling into the schoolyard.
Would you say he's a victim?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, I would. I'd say that he definitely he let his like self get his his ego got the better of him and it made him into this monster.
I mean,
Um, I think that he definitely had promise as one of Japan's brightest students. Like he definitely could have been like a phenomenal detective. He could have been L like
here's my take on it.
properly.
Yeah, my take on that is like, regardless if he didn't get the notebook, with that much, like his mindset is already like that. He was bored, he was sick and tired of everything. Any sort of power that he can come across, I feel like he might end the same.
He would have. You think he would have abused it to that point,
Yeah.
regardless?
Like if he
I mean,
became a
maybe.
cop, he might have gone vigilante, man.
Yeah,
Just
I guess. I guess we'll never know.
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure that there's what if stories out there about
there's a
Light
lot.
being, more of whatever. Um, Ryuk reminds Light that he was always going to write his name in his Death Note
Yep.
and does so, causing Light to have a heart attack on a set of stairs in another warehouse that he was trying to escape to.
Yep.
So Light Yagami has a heart attack on the stairs and dies. We then see the fate of all known Kiras. Mikami's body is left in the warehouse, and Misa is implied to have thrown herself from the roof of the original Task Force HQ. Now it's implied, it's not set in stone. We don't see anything that happens. We
Here's a
just know that
canon.
she
There's a canon information in that one from the
is there.
wiki. Misa died 7 years after Light died.
Oh, so she did have a life.
She did have a life, but it's not known if she died because she ran out of life
Or
or
if somebody else just saw that she had a
yeah,
huge life, if another Shinigami saw that she had a huge life left
yeah. So
and
it's still
wanted that
unknown,
life.
but it's seven
Yeah.
years after Light died.
Okay. Excellent.
Hmm.
As Light dies and the credits roll, we see the ghost of L watching him.
Yeah, that was. I was like, huh.
Do we think it's because L wants to make sure the job is done?
I'd say yeah, 100%.
Or is he watching his long lost watching his lover
Oh,
pass on?
could be anything. But how come like Mello's ghost is not there? It should be like Mello's ghost. They're high fiving me.
They
High
should be high
five.
fiving.
Yeah.
And thus ends the series of our recaps for Death Note.
Yeah, it's a good show. Again, like Scott told me, like, hey man, the show's almost 20 years old, right? Like, holy crap, I'm old.
Right?
Yeah,
So, something I've
yeah,
been wanting to have a conversation about for quite a while is the casting of the English dub. Now, I haven't done any research on the Japanese original casting. I personally going to get skewered for this, but I tend to watch dubs more than subs. I know we've had a conversation about that before, but I just prefer watching dubs. I think dub performances, I don't know, I just like them better sometimes. I did watch, before you get mad at me, I did watch uh, the first few arcs of Hunter x Hunter subbed when they first came to Netflix. I did watch Attack on Titan season 1 subbed when it was on Netflix before they got the dubs.
mhm.
You know, I don't hate
That's all
subs.
right.
I don't watch
It's how
like
you
I
consume your media. As long as you enjoy it, yeah,
right.
cool.
Right. I think we had a conversation about that at the beginning of the series
Yeah,
about like, hey, it doesn't really matter how you choose to watch it.
yeah.
Um, but like I can't watch dubbed live action.
Yeah, it's
So
weird.
like, yeah, so like Squid Game. When I watched Squid Game, I watched it subbed.
You get more emotion,
Yeah, I guess you do.
right?
But is it the same with anime?
I'm slowly weaning myself off from the subs because Keita and Kumi and Tim. So I'm slowly like, oh, I know what that means. Okay, okay, okay. But yeah, I mean, it's animated, right? So the lip movement is not as precise as watching something live action, right?
Right.
So, like, let's say you have to recite something in it with a group and you don't know. You say watermelon, 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 watermelon. Your lip is moving. They don't know you're saying watermelon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. If you don't know the song, just
yeah.
lip sync Watermelon.
Yeah.
Um, so we're only going to be talking about the main cast of the dub. We're not going to be digging too far into the Japanese cast, unless Ollie, unless you've done some, have you done digging that I don't know about?
I did not dig.
Great, excellent. Stay in service level. I love it.
Yeah.
Pour the concrete, no digging allowed.
Yep.
So Light was played by Brad Swale, who also, coincidentally, played Amuro Ray in the original English dub of Mobile Suit Gundam, and Lan Hikari in the Mega Man NT Warriors anime. So he's been around the block for a bit, and he's pretty well known, I guess, in that sort of um, sphere. One thing I noticed with a lot of these main actors, they've it looks like a lot of them have worked together on a lot of different projects.
Hmm.
There's one called like Superbook that a lot of these actors work together on. I think it's like a Bible cartoon
Yeah, I
series.
think that's a Bible cartoon series, like Sunday morning thing.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Um a lot of them worked on different My Little Pony series, a lot of kid shows over the years. Ryuk was originally played by Brian Drummond, who's literally done tons of characters over the years, including a bunch of stuff that I'd never heard of, which is pretty par for the course, including a lot of kid shows. He played a bunch of he had a bunch of roles in My Little Pony series, and now I'm just imagining Ryuk's voice coming out of
Out of
some
a
of these
pony.
other characters. I definitely need to see that now. So if you can make that happen, send it my way, please.
Oh God. Do you think they would slip
Um,
out of character at some point?
or maybe, maybe. L was played by Alessandro Giuliani, who was Gambit in X Men Evolutions
Huh?
and Night Scream in Transformers Beast Machines. So I don't know if you watched those series.
I did.
I also did, and yeah, he's a great actor. Kathy Wesseluck played Near. Again, I apologize if I'm butchering these pronunciations. She also played Spike in most modern My Little Pony shows, and get this, had 11 roles over the course of Inuyasha.
It's crazy
Like that's a lot for one
person.
person in a show that like isn't that long by anime
Inuyasha's
standards.
long.
Is it long?
It's long.
Over 100? Over 100 episodes?
I think, yeah.
Hang on. We're going to ask the internet.
167 episodes.
Okay, you beat me to it. That is a long series. Yeah, okay, 11 rolls. I can see that.
Mhm.
Wow. That's
That's
impressive.
a
That's
that's
a
a
lot
lot.
of rolls.
That's a lot of rolls, man.
So, now that we've finally done it, we've gone through the whole series. Ollie, I need to know, and I want to know, what were your thoughts on Death Note overall?
Power corrupts. That's 100%. Like, there's a lot of like raw human nature being exposed in this anime. I mean, it aged well. I would say technology is also scary, like seeing like how they utilize everything and the way the human brain works. Like, would you even imagine like L, Near, Mellow? These guys are thinking like, I don't know, 50 steps ahead of somebody. It's
Of
insane.
everybody.
I mean, I would say like, okay, if they can think like that, I mean, it's not. I mean, I know it's a series, it's not, it's fiction, but like, you would see these chess grandmasters, right? I mean, they have the mental capacity to like predict and like see the number of possible plays. So the human mind, I would say, this is a great series to show like what human mind is capable of above, like above all things. So
and
yeah,
the
it's pretty good.
ability to quickly adapt to new information.
Yeah.
To see somebody like L, who was very quickly about to close the case, and if it wasn't for the two fake rules that Light had written, probably would have sealed the case.
Hmm.
Uh, and was able to quickly adapt his hypotheses to the fact that Shinigami are real and the notebook kills and all these other things that happened.
Hmm.
Um, which you saw whenever he like when he first touches the notebook and he has that like mental breakdown,
Hmm.
he immediately takes that information and applies it to what he already knows.
I think the best part of this series is especially when Light lost his memory from when he relinquished a Death Note. He already devised a plan so the Death Note will come back to him, and he knows. I mean, it's scary. It's like looking at yourself in third person, and then this is what this guy's gonna do. I know I'm gonna do this. This
Man,
is. I mean, how much mastery of yourself do you need to be able to plot that? Oh, this is how I would react if I was in this situation. I
yeah,
should make the situation happen and put myself in it. So it's scary.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
absolutely wild. Um, and to see that over the years that nothing, as far as I've seen, has reached the levels of, uh, we'll say, um, general cerebrality
Mm-hmm.
of of a show like this, and it's a great series to show people who don't like anime because it's not very anime like. Like I imagine that this series could be adapted to any medium and the same story if told properly would come through and would be done well and be successful, which doesn't happen when things get adapted, which we're going to talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we have again a surprise at the end of the
Yep.
series. Um, but like my partner isn't a big fan of anime. She just isn't, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But years ago, I was like, "Hey, we should watch this show. It's really cool." And she was hooked. She finished the whole series
Oh,
like
really?
within like a week. She's like,
Oh, damn.
and her reasoning was that it's so dark, I just had to finish it because then I can stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay, fair,
Fair.
fair. It's a
Valid.
very dark show, and that's why we've tried to make our show at least a little bit lighter because, well, it's a very dark show,
It's a heavy show.
and it was just really cool to see her like get into it. And so if you have friends and you have family that aren't anime fans and you want to get them into anime,
Yeah,
show them Death Note.
I
If
would
they can
recommend
handle
Death
that,
Note.
they can handle most other things.
Yeah.
But
There are darker animes than this though.
there are darker anime than this.
I'm gonna call out. I'm gonna straight up call out Japan for this one. Japan, why do you make dark animes look like they're a children's show? There are shows like that. I will name Made in Abyss. I was like, oh, this should be like a fun watch. And I was
Promise
watching, I
Never,
was like,
Promise Neverland.
yeah. Oh, I'm scarred now. Well, gotta keep going.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a good show. I would recommend it for like let's say they're not a fan of anime or anything like that. But give it a show, just enter it with a clear perspective, like this is something different.
Yep.
And I would say it's very original, I'd say.
Well, and that was my next point is that I've never seen uh, a concept like this done ever again. And even
Yeah.
the series, whatever the author did next, because he did do something else after this that was adapted into an anime, but it wasn't nearly as good, and it wasn't nearly as well received, and it was way more contrived. Like, it just wasn't good. I can't remember what it was called now.
There's
Yeah. Speaking of going through into things with fresh eyes, what we are going to do now is we're going to cut from here. We're going to rewatch the OPs, the both OPs of the show, and we're going to try and imagine as if we didn't just spend the last 10 weeks of our lives consuming and talking about the show. We are going to do an experiment, and we are going to watch the openings of the series and try to guess what type of show it is, as if we have not seen the show before.
Mhm.
So we're going to be right back from that.
Okay. I like this.
Okay, so we just watched the first
Yeah.
opening of Deathnote, trying to pretend like we haven't been talking about the show for the last month plus of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta tell you, man, I've got some theories, I've got some thoughts, and I might just be about to pitch a better show.
Oh.
So here's what I got from it.
Okay, what's better than this?
Here's what I got from it. The main protagonist, the guy in the white shirt,
Mm-hmm.
is a teacher.
Okay.
Okay? He's a teacher in a school. That part doesn't really matter, but he's a teacher who gets embroiled in some kind of scandal.
Okay.
Or is blackmailed by a student who is the nerdy kid with blue hair.
Okay.
So he then has to make a deal with the Yakuza, who were the group of men, different Yakuza heads, who have alter egos of those demon heads who actually run Japan. So now he's trying to figure out how to navigate this underground Yakuza world while trying to balance the fact that he's also like a good teacher trying to be better at his job, which is viewed through the eyes of a young student who is in a gross kind of way pining for his affections.
Not all teachers in university, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like not judging here.
That's what I get from the OP pretending that I haven't seen Deathnote.
There. My opinion.
Yeah.
The apple is always there. Like, it's a symbolism of, I don't know, when they see apples, I feel like it's power, right?
Right?
Adam
The
and
forbidden
Eve.
apple.
Apple. Okay, they
Yep.
got screwed over by the apple. What
Yep.
else? It's just there. And it's the one that's the only thing that's colored. It's bright red. Like, this is what you want. It's like telling you something, right?
Well, it's just like in our logo.
Yeah. And that's the
The
same thing
apple
I thought.
is the only colored thing of the logo.
Yep. Like the old guys, I was like, yeah, Yakuza. Okay, they might be demons too. Maybe like
Right?
the demons, the black demon is like the defector of the demons. And then
Maybe
this
he's on the
chick,
side. Maybe. Oh, what
right?
if the whole series is like a demon courtroom drama, and the demon in black
I
with like
object.
with the hair and the teeth is our main character's like lawyer. He's court appointed defender
I
in
would
this
I would pay
underground
money
Yakuza demon
to
court.
watch it.
Wouldn't that be? Oh man, that's what I'm saying. I think we just pitched a better series.
Yeah. And then that goth girl, I was like, oh,
She's one of the witnesses. She's a
yeah.
minor character called as a witness.
Yeah. Called her mommy, but like I'm gonna retract that statement. I take it back. I don't know how old she oh I do. Oh shit. No. She's cool. But then
She
again, the
cool.
other guy, the nerdy guy, I'm like, he can't be a bad guy. Because he looks so shrewd.
Well, that's just it. I don't know if he would be the bad guy, but might be like the one who caught the teacher doing a thing that he shouldn't be doing, but the
Could be.
teacher may have done it because he was pushed into a situation, or
I'm just
like,
running off like memories, like red versus blue, right? Like in old video games, like Contra back in the and then NES. Like first player red, second
yep,
no, first player is blue, second player is red.
really? I always thought
So
it was the other way around.
was it?
So in Smash Bros, player 1 is in red,
Player two is blue.
player 2 is blue, player 3 is yellow, player 4 is green.
Huh. So yeah, that's
And
what I thought.
those are the colors that I always thought 4 players were.
Yeah, but like it's hard to like even the intro. I know we watched this intro so many times, but like if you're gonna look at it, it's hard to piece like, okay, power is gonna be involved. Okay, there are baddies over here. Same number of it's kind of misleading, right? Same number of
Right?
old dudes in suits and then demons. I'm like,
Maybe they're the
what
same
are
people,
they the same
maybe they're
people?
not.
Because they're facing the same way. They're not
They're
facing
facing the
against
same
each
way.
other.
If
They're
they were
not facing each
facing
other.
exactly, if they were facing like each other, then maybe you would think they weren't the same people.
Oh my god, we're so smart. We're like the geniuses of cinematography now. Oh my god. Because they're
No, I
facing the same way, so I thought they're the same, like alter ego,
that's what I exactly.
right? But if they're facing old dudes, demons, okay, they're against each
Yeah,
other.
facing opposite, then they're on opposite sides of a situation.
Yeah,
Anyway, I think we just created a better show.
could be cartoon drama,
I want
demon
to see
lawyer.
it. I want to see it happen, and I'm so down to make it happen somehow. Um, yeah, that's where
It's
I'm at
fun.
with that one. Do you want to
It's
do the
fun.
same with opening 2?
Mm, yeah, let's do the second open. I like the second opening better than
Yes.
the first one.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
Okay. Let's
Let's do the second opening.
let's do it. Yeah. Okay, so we just finished watching the second OP to the show and trying to pretend as if we haven't seen it. So, secondary OP, it definitely works better as a sequel. And that if this
Nice.
was a show that I'd never heard of, and this was the first I'd seen of it, I'd be intrigued, I'd be confused, and I'd be a little scared.
There's a sniper. I like the sniper guy.
Yeah, the sniper
And
guy's cool. And
the Afro guy, love it.
oh, he's the he would be the he's definitely the Vegeta of the team. Like
Oh,
he's the
100%.
secondary main character.
He's a badass. And you know what I noticed? Like I know I've seen this opening so much.
Yeah.
The blue roses.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Are you okay? This might sound funny, but I do like my plants.
That's
I
not
don't
funny.
hoard. I don't hoard plants, and I like flowers. And do you know there's like meaning in different flowers?
Yeah, the language of the flowers.
You know what the blue
That's
rose
why.
means?
What does the blue rose mean?
It means mystery, secrecy, and pride.
Huh. Yeah, I see
Specifically, a
that.
blue rose.
Yeah.
It's like so. There's two. I would say that represents. It's starting to make sense, like Mirror and Mellow,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. 100%.
So I'm
So
like,
what type of
okay.
show do you think this is based on just the secondary OP? Do you think it's an evolution? Do you think this is the same? So I'm thinking about it like it's the same show that we just pitched earlier, and
Well,
it's
this
like
is
the
way
evolution
different.
of it,
This is way different because it just shows the notebook, right? Okay,
right?
what's the notebook? What's the Death Note? Okay. If you see that intro with no context whatsoever, you'll be confused. Straight up. You would think that, oh, okay, this must be like a crime or cop story. There's snipers and there's cops with an afro. Okay. And
Hmm.
then there's this guy with red eyes. And then you got this like Pennywise looking guy under
Under
the
the
grates.
thing, this
Yeah.
this main this red-eyed guy is being watched by people. Like there's a lot more going on.
It paints him as a protagonist in this intro. Straight up.
Right. Unless as somebody who's like strived for,
Mm-hmm.
like he's seen as this in the first OP, this main character is seen as like this um virtuous sort of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this one we see him sort of in a completely different light,
Mm-hmm.
pun intended.
Different light.
Yeah. Where in
Saw
this
what you
case
did.
he's
Saw
he's
what you
he's
did
much,
there.
yeah, thanks. He's more seen as like a um it's more humanized, and he's more villainized, and he's more like, why are people watching him? Why is he being like tracked down? Why is he screaming? Why is he freaking out?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know?
I like I like the music of the second intro, but I
Mhm.
like the video of the first one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's a really good way to put it.
That's how I'll
So,
put it. It's pretty
Ollie,
cool. Hmm.
overall, do you think Death Note holds up
It does.
over
I
the
mean,
years?
it does. I haven't seen. I think the what is as of late. There's a few like I consume anime on a regular-ish basis.
Hmm.
There's a few that's pretty original that I've seen, but not like super dark like this one. Like let's say The Promised Neverland, right? Very original, pretty
Yeah,
dark,
yeah.
but it doesn't make you. It
It doesn't
doesn't make
scratch the
you.
same itch.
Yeah, it doesn't make you wonder as hard as Death Note because Death Note is like, okay, this is happening in modern day, like current current kind of times to Japan, and then we have Promised Neverland that we don't know what time period that is, right?
You know
Until
anything
like
about it?
you go like way deep into the series. That's the only time you know. It's a big reveal. But
Hmm.
yeah, I would say it holds up. It's hold up. Very original. It's a different take. Obviously, its target audience is the more mature audience.
Hmm.
I wouldn't. I would say this should be an 18 plus series.
I was incredibly surprised to hear that this was published in Shonen Jump.
No,
Yep. Death Note is available to read on the Shonen Jump app.
but the app has like an age setup, right?
Not that I've seen.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
it's available to read on the Shonen Jump app. It was released in Shonen Jump.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But then again, so is Chainsaw Man. So is Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay, did I? Yeah, right. Yep.
So is Undead Unluck. Like,
Oh, right. That's
you
yeah.
know,
Mhm.
there's a lot that goes into Shonen Jump that, you know, it's a lot more mature and and is that sort of borders that line between shonen and seinen, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
But
I didn't know that. Hey, how
there
about
you
you?
have it.
Would you say it holds up, Scott?
I would say that it definitely holds up. I would think I would, okay, if there could be a new anime of it made,
Hmm.
like a remake, I'd be
I,
down to see it.
I would be down. Trigun had a remake, right?
But it would have to be made. Uh, if it's good, I'd love to see it. But a show like this doesn't necessarily need um, perfect action scenes.
No,
It
no.
doesn't need all that. What you need with a show like this is proper pacing
Hmm.
and performances, like voice performances on point.
I agree.
That's what you would need for a show like this to be remade. Whereas something like, I haven't seen the Trigun remake. I haven't seen the original Trigun,
I'm a big
but
fan. Pretty good.
I
Pretty good.
I've heard great things.
Hmm.
Um, but I imagine it's a pretty action heavy show.
Yeah.
And so for a show like that, nailing the action scenes is very important.
Hmm.
Whereas the quote unquote action scenes in Death Note are not
They're
the
not the
same
action.
type of action scenes,
Oh
which we
yeah.
talked about in the Chip episode.
I
Like,
think they wouldn't have a hard time like animating this in modern day quality. I think.
I'd be down to see it, but I don't think it needs it. I think it really does stand on its own. It really continues to stand on its own. It's a series that has stood the test of time. It's a series that people still talk about. You know, almost 20 years down the line. In 20 freaking 1 second.
Yeah.
Like Netflix made a Death Note movie
Oh God.
out of the blue,
I haven't seen it yet.
and you're gonna see it because time for the announcement. This is not the final episode of PaperCuts. The
Oh,
next episode of PaperCuts is going to be a watch along episode
oh no.
of Netflix's Death Note.
That was the very first question I asked. Hey Scott, how is this Death Note movie on Netflix? Is this any good? Should I watch it? Like, no. Oh,
And I said without a moment of hesitation,
no.
no. I did watch it when it came out as a fan of the show and as a fan of the property, and I was not impressed, but um,
Did it capture
it
the emotions that you got from the series?
well now I've got new emotions for the series, Ollie. Last time I watched the show to completion, I think I was like 20,
Oh
like almost
wow.
like 10 years ago. I watched the show to completion. I didn't even know it was a thing until almost 15 years ago.
Oh man, I've seen people cosplaying that stuff. What's this? Oh,
That's just it. And it's stood the test of time, and people still love it and people still talk about it.
it's
But
good.
it definitely unfortunately Death Note is sort of seen as like an anime fan's anime.
Yeah.
Everybody
It's
knows Dragon Ball, everybody
yeah.
knows One Piece, but not everybody knows Bleach, not everybody knows Hunter x Hunter, not everybody knows Yu Yu Hakusho. And then
Yes. And those are
even
good.
even fewer people know Death Note. Even fewer
Really?
people know D. Gray Man.
Oh, D.
Fewer
Gray Man
people.
is so good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know that, and I assume that. I haven't seen D. Gray Man yet, but
Oh,
like it's one of those series that, like, if you were to make a not a tier, sure, if we're gonna make a tier list in terms of like popularity and wide appeal, you would have Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, One Piece, of like shows that everybody knows. Dragon Ball and Naruto would be up there too.
Naruto's gonna be up there.
And then you would have like just below that you would have like Bleach, Hunter x Hunter, Yu Yu Hakusho, and maybe a few other like shows that are known, people know. Demon Slayer would be on there. Um, Again, I'm not an authority. This is all based on
From
opinion.
the top of our heads. Don't call us
Yep.
out on this.
Or do and tell me I'm wrong. Engagement is engagement. And then below that you would have Death Note. You would have um, Haryaku no Go. You would have um, like I
What
said,
do you
D.
call
Gray
this?
Man. You would have uh,
Gurren Lagann,
Gurren Lagann. Exactly.
right?
So shows that are like known and people who know anime love these shows.
Gundam series. My personal favorite, Mobile Unit Strike Force MS-08. They're not named Gundams. They're piloting Gundams that's like stock run-off-the-mill Gundams. They're just trying to survive in Southeast Asia.
Cool.
It gets ugly.
I bet.
Yeah.
But uh, as an anime fan, Death Note is one of my favorite series.
Yeah, I agree. Me too. It's
Yeah.
unique. It's a different take, and it's not about. I think it's a antithesis to most people's perception of anime that it's all about superpowers, world-breaking battles. No, it's not. It's
No.
there's like weird stuff in Death Note, but it's not something that you would see. Oh, I shot a beam of power and I destroyed a moon. Oops. No, it doesn't happen.
No. So for the second last time on this show, Ollie, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on the gram, xrrice_inc. Hit me up, like if you have suggestions, comments, and if there's something you want us to tackle, we'll be listening to you guys.
Mm-hmm. We've got some pretty big things lined up here at Helga House Productions. So if you're looking to get in touch with me, the best way to do so is to go to helgahouse.com. That's where you'll find me. Thank you once again for listening. My name is Scott.
My name's Ollie.
And thank you again so much for listening to this, essentially the final episode, the final regular episode of PaperCuts. a Death Note recap podcast.
Yeah.
Take care.
Well, cheers. Thanks for joining the ride.
PaperCuts. Technical productions by Scott Walker of Helga House Productions. For more shows like the one you just heard, visit helgahouse.com.